Even if you're a doctor, I mean, look at doctors, if they're making $150, $200 an hour, there's still a cap. There's a cap on how many hours you can work in a day. So, and when you can unleash that, now the sky's the limit. It's really a matter of how good is your idea and how big is the market size and where you sit in that.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast. I am your host, Lutch, and today we are going to be talking with Ivory Coates about his or her book, A Tenacious Spirit.
You begin with your audience in mind. I'm in some other author groups on like Facebook and things. And I think that's where I hear in the comments that people get so lost. They just start with a something versus starting with the end user. Who's going to be reading this? What do they want to hear? What is it that they need to learn? When you reverse engineer that process, everything else is fluid. The clarity is always very, very perfectly clear. So for me, this book actually was for me when I was starting out, because I didn't have a mentor. I had nobody in my family who even owned a business, and never even considered myself before that experience necessarily an entrepreneur. I always planned to get a job and do what I grew up seeing. And it wasn't until I got that taste and I thought, wow, I have this struggle sauce all this time, and you're telling me I could make what? And that now it's crazy because it doesn't feel like a lot of money, but now I think on it, I'm like, no, like you'll never match it. That's the power of entrepreneurship. When you exchange hours for dollars, you'll never match that and make that kind of money. So if you want to make, even if you're a doctor, when you look at doctors, if they're making $150, $200 an hour, there's still a cap. There's a cap on how many hours you can work in a day. So, and when you can unleash that, now the sky's the limit. It's really a matter of how good is your idea and how big is the market size and where you sit in that. I think anybody, talented or not, can start a business and have a successful business. I think entrepreneurship and a business think of it as a tool. So if you are good at X, you build a business around you. So if you are not good at Y, Z, and whatever, if I'm not good at the marketing, if I'm not good at the customer service, but I'm an artist and I make a thing, build a team that drives the rest of it. And when you start kind of separating and thinking about, hey, I get to be the main character, and then I build my team around me. Now you don't have to have all the skills. You just need to know how to build the teams. And the book does go some into that. And the importance of actually getting from what I call an entrepreneur-worker, which is usually when entrepreneurs start out, we're wearing all the hats. We're wearing the accounting hat, the customer service hat. I'm in my office now. I sweep up at the end of the day. I'm wearing all the hats. And we sometimes languish there. And that's not what entrepreneurship is supposed to do for you. It is supposed to be a tool where you create an ecosystem. And I talk about that in the book, creating that ecosystem around you so that you live the life that you have designed for you. And we talk about that too, starting out with creating for yourself what success looks like and what you want your day to look like. And then you build around that. And that's why I really want people to take a moment to really quantify and really identify what it is you want. The other thing is, when I was younger, I wanted like all the things. I can tell you guys, I don't be wanting all the things now. I realized it was nice, but it was fleeting ideas, and it was more society telling me that this is what I should want. I never took the time just to ask myself, do I even want that? And so you have to have that heartfelt conversation. So finding your why, figuring out what success or happiness looks like for you. I kept thinking happiness came when. Everything was, once this happens, then I'll be happy. And
that's a very prevalent mindset.
Now my philosophy is happiness is once I decide. It's once I make that decision, and it's really about kind of that power shift, because when gives the power to when something happens. Once is me deciding. Once I decide this, or once whatever it is, this is happy, and not making it this. Sometimes we make it so butterflies and rose-colored glasses. Happiness, it literally, you get to design what happiness is for you. And if you're still figuring out who you are, then allow yourself some lenience to find that out. So anyway, not to get too distracted, finding your why.
So sorry to interrupt your podcast experience. I just want to remind you, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And if you really love it, there's some support links in the description. I would love if you could help out the channel. And back to the show.
Developing your visioning for your company. Now, I always say people come in two lots when it comes to entrepreneurship. Some people say, and I talk to a lot of people, I've always had this idea on my heart. Or I met a guy the other day, he has a whole novel in his computer, and it's like been sitting there. This has been envisioned upon him. He spent years, writing it, everything. He knows that he's purposed to put that out. Now, why he hasn't put it out, that's a whole nother conversation. But we get there, right? There's another camp that says, hey, I realize exchanging hours for dollars is not going to get it. What is the next thing? And that's fine too. But just knowing where you start out is better to know. If you're a person that says, hey, I've been purposed for doing something, then now you need to clarify your vision. If you're somebody saying just hours for dollars is not going to work, then we need to focus on ideas. You want to vet your ideas so that you are focused on the ones that not only solve a problem, but they solve a problem that people are willing to pay for, and you are able to get it in that price point. What if you had a period that was rather difficult, but you built the business and now you get to choose? Now you get to choose when you go into the office. Now you get to choose what days you work and what days you don't. You can be the boss, but everything is an exchange. So I'm not against jobs, but if you have a job, then, you are now adhering to their policies and their work structure when they want you in there. If you want something with more flexibility, then you can start a business. And there is an ideology, because I know somebody's going to say it. You're trading one boss for several. You are, and it depends on. And that's why it's important to get your why down and get your vision down. Because if you decide, hey, I don't want to be stuck in the office in Zoom meetings all day, every day, then that needs to be calibrated into when you're deciding what business you go into. So that's why I always tell people, figure out, design how you want your day to be. Design literally the minute stuff that you think is not that important is actually a really big deal, because that's what's going to see you through the whole journey and process. But if you're not leading up to a life that's worth it, then the first thing that happens that's difficult, you're going to be like, I don't even know why I was doing this. I was making how much? And getting the checks into my bank account.
Direct deposit. Every other week.
Every 2 weeks, I get it.
Yeah.
I think about business as an ecosystem. So a lot of the people that I talk to, they're not wanting to have a job. So somebody who's contented that's fine. I mean, when you're building your ecosystem, honestly, you're not going to want entrepreneurial types, because we're doing our own thing, right?
Right.
I can't do what? I'm a terrible employee, but in my own business, I'm a workhorse here, because I know I eat what I kill. So if I don't get in here and do what I need to do, guess what? That's on me. That's on my home, my kids. So I work on that feast and famine, all day, every day, because it gets me motivation. I love being able to do what I do. It is an ecosystem that you're creating. When you think about ecosystems, we know we have the sun. The sun provides nourishment for the plants. The plants get eaten by the herbivores. Herbivores get eaten by the carnivores. So when I try to liken that to business ownership, and that you're creating an ecosystem, and you're going to sit in one piece wherever your strengths lie, and then you're building out all the team members that are going to fulfill that ecosystem. So most people I'm talking to, they are interested, they got inklings, and like you're kind of alluding to, they may be nervous about the idea of getting started in entrepreneurship and what that all is going to take. So nothing, in my opinion, that's worth it is ever going to be easy.